Greetings and happy Monday from Agile Learning Lab's world headquarters, beautiful downtown San Mateo, California. Today's topic is how to lead an Agile transformation or a Scrum adoption. This probably shouldn't take too long, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, because it's pretty easy. That was humor. Obviously, it's a big topic, and we're not going to cover everything here. But I want to share my #1 starting point, my biggest piece of advice for organizations that are embarking on this journey. We're working with a couple of organizations right now who are really at the beginning point of their journey. It's kind of exciting and honestly a little nervous making. So here's where I recommend starting. First off, create Agile adoption or Scrum adoption or Agile transformation Scrum team. Have the leaders that are going to be leading this initiative actually use Scrum to do the work of leading the initiative. Treat the organizational change as a endeavor that we're going to use Scrum for. And it's a good fit. It makes a lot of sense that we would do this. In part, organizational change is complex work. Just like, say, software product development is complex work. One of the things that means is we don't know what all the work is going to be until we're doing the work, right? Our understanding of what is the best way or even what is needed is going to be emergent as we go. And that's the same for software product development. It's the same for organizational change. Similarly, in order to succeed, you are going to need multiple specialists who have different and complementary skills and responsibility sets in the organization to work together in a coordinated way. Very much like a product development Scrum team probably needs different technologists to work together in a coordinated way in order to achieve the business goal. So organizational change is complex work. It really does require a team. And so Scrum is a really good fit. The other big benefit that we're going to get from having a leadership team that is using Scrum is that now you are leading by doing. You're not going to be telling the people in your organization, hey, we've got this big new change initiative and we're going to create this structure and tell you how to do your work in a different way, right? It's not do as we say. You're going to be leading by example, right? You're going to be saying, hey, we are the leadership Scrum team and here is what we've come up with so far. Here are the initial set of changes, right, that we're making. We expect to inspect and adapt this. Members of the organization, you are our stakeholders. We want feedback. And you're really asking them to do as you do, not just do as you say. So it's much more compelling. Also, by using Scrum yourselves, you're going to come to really understand, well, what is it like to work that way? What support does a Scrum team need? And what's difficult about trying to work that way in your organization? And by developing that empathy for what is it like to truly be a Scrum team here in our organization, that is going to enable you to be much more effective in creating and then enabling and supporting Scrum teams in the organization itself. So who should be on this team? Well, you need a product owner. The product owner is the person who can answer the question, why are we doing this? If you think about a Scrum adoption, Agile transformation, any type of process improvement changes in an organization, they're not easy and they're not cheap, right? Getting people to change, it's difficult. It will probably reduce productivity in the very short term, and there's overhead and cost involved in doing it. So if, as an organization, we are willing to incur the costs of adopting Scrum, there must be a really compelling reason why we're willing to do that. And we need someone who can hold that vision for why are we doing this. Maybe we need to be more responsive to the market, right? We've been too slow in responding to market changes. Maybe we've had quality issues. Maybe we've had predictability issues. Maybe we're having trouble attracting and retaining really awesome people. Whatever the business goals are, that, the person who can hold those and represent those the best, that should really be the product owner for this team. The Scrum Master should be the most knowledgeable person about Scrum we can find, and the person who is a skilled facilitator and coach. So who is it in our organization that is the best person to do that? Now this gets interesting because I've often found that these leadership teams end up being having a Scrum Master who on the org chart might be several levels down, and that's okay if that's the best person we've got in our organization in terms of Scrum knowledge and coaching and facilitation skills. It doesn't necessarily have to be one of the members of the what I would call development team. It's not someone who is doing the work of the transformation, and this will actually help the people doing the work of the transformation understand the importance of having a team coach, of having a team Scrum expert, and they'll get the experience of being facilitated and supported in doing their work. That'll help them understand why we need Scrum Masters out in the field, and again, help them better support the adoption. So who are the members of this development team, right, the Scrum adoption team? Well, we need, I recommend in general, having Scrum Masters from the teams out in the organization. Oh, greetings. Somebody's out there and liked it. Hi, whoever that is. Scrum Masters who are going to be working with the teams in the field, have several of those on the Scrum Adoption Scrum team, because that way they are your eyes and ears out to the actual teams. And this will provide really important intelligence for this leadership team. How are things going, and what do we need to be doing differently? I also recommend having key leaders, key managers involved in this effort, in part because we really need them to shift how they do their work. And these are the people very often in organizations that will enable and support people on the teams in working in the new way. Or if they're not on board, these same managers are the people who often gum up the works, right? If they don't fully understand, if they are not fully on board with why our organization is moving in this direction, they're likely to resist. And it may very well be well-meaning resistance, right? They either don't understand, or they don't think it's a good idea, or just whatever. They're not on board, they're not aligned. They're trying to do what they think is right. But if it's not aligned with what the leadership team is trying to do in terms of creating Scrum teams, boy, managers can really wreak havoc. So having some of those key people on the Scrum adoption team, really vital. So that way they're in the loop, they're part of the process, right? I mean, who else would be rolling out organizational change and process change if not our leaders and our managers? I would say you also want to create some metrics for this team, right? How will we know if we are seeing the results in the organization that we want to see? So choosing, what are our success metrics? What are our progress metrics? How will we know if this is worth it? I'll make a brief call out about the worst metric that I see frequently. Don't use velocity. Velocity is not the reason that we're adopting Scrum. Now, it might be that we would like more value produced and faster. Okay, great, but that's different than velocity. How are you going to know if you're getting more value produced, if you're producing value at a faster rate? Figure out how you can measure that so that you can actually inspect and adapt on the effectiveness of the work that your Scrum adoption team is doing. And then the last thing I want to leave you with is this thought. Embarking on a journey like this as an organizational leader is very often a time where leaders start to realize that their job is shifting. that what they need to do is new and different, and in some very profound ways. Very often leaders get to that position because they have helped lead, right, the creation of amazing products. And that's awesome. But now that you are in a position where you're going to be leading a, say, a big process change or organization change like a Scrum adoption, that's not your job anymore. Your job is actually to create an organization that will create amazing products. And that's a pretty big shift. It's profound, and it's very different work, right? And so letting go of trying to steer the creation of the products and instead focus on creating an organization that is healthy and robust and high performing, that's really huge. And so in the work that I've done coaching leadership teams, I often find that this comes up, that it's really important that this, the role and the job that leaders see for themselves gets reframed in this way. So this is, of course, just scratching the surface. Back in late 2018, I wrote a blog post about this, and there's a link associated with this post. So if you want to read that and get more details, that's awesome. As always, if you're looking to get Scrum training or coaching or help with that, reach out to Agile Learning Labs. That's what we do. And till next time, thanks for joining us. Have a great week.